Okay, it is time. I think it's time we talk about Joy Berry, the author who written such magnificent books. Now, to be fair now, she's not one of those children's fantasy kind of authors, or even graphic horror types. She is actually an educator who makes self-help books to help kids guide their way through growing up, the lessons they should learn, and how to be ready for the future that lies ahead of them as they grow older. There's even an advertisement on videotape that actually says it.
The writer of over 250 self-help books for children, with over 36 million copies of her books sold, this is a market-proven product the whole country's been hungry for.
Yeah, see? So Joy Berry is a one-of-a-kind author. She knows exactly what to do and how to make things better. Every kid has their own particular way of living. Some could be struggling. Other times it could be, challenging. But then again, life is always a challenge, and we all have to learn to cope with it. Sure, there's going to be some obstacles along the way, whether it's home-related or even in public. Friends or no friends. Foes or no foes. But no matter what, we all have to do our part and make sure, absolutely make sure, that everything turns out just right. Sure, the Human Race Club is probably what she's best known for, because some wonderful kids, which I'll talk more about that in a minute. But to be fair, she does other stories too, like Teach Me About, Let's Talk About, Help Me Be Good, Living Skills, Survival Skills, Winning Skills, Good Answers to Tough Questions. And there's sometimes parenting books and activity books too. Those could be easy to handle. Among the activity books she's written, Sensational Seasons and Holidays. There's 12 of them. And an example for parenting books, Helping Them Tame the Big Bad Wolves. But it's not just those books, of course. Other books can be a very serious topic, such as Keep Your Child Safe from Abuse and Neglect. Oh yeah, you can bet she's written some very heavy books. Joy Berry knows what she's doing. She's smart, wise, and she doesn't hold back. A parenting expert and character development specialist, Joy Berry cannot be denied.
Joy Berry. That's the author's name. Gee, kind of reminds me of Joyful Journey, isn't it? You know, the one that makes those magnificent AI snacks that sound so tempting that we wish they were real, but they're not? I'm not saying that she's a joyful journey, but after what she's doing to children in their self-help books, I think it is a joyful journey.
Joy Berry is not exactly the first to do so, to write books to give self-help advice for children. I'm sure there's been other talented authors before her that has done that. But she knows what she's doing. She knows how to handle it, and she knows what some kids are going through these days, especially through tough times. Whether it's about race, disasters, parental issues, or just the facts of life. Kids should learn about all this, and they should also open up to the world around them, realizing that not everything can be joyful and jolly, as today's times would ever be. But I think out of all the books that she's written in her life, this 81-year-old author is best known for The Human Race Club, a story that centers around 5 individual kids and the lessons they learn along the way. Joy Berry herself appeared in this cartoon, in the epilogue and the prologue, but she's also the full-time narrator to these cartoon shorts. However, instead of appearing in animation like we see here, this is just a caricature, She appears in her real, true, live-action self. She even gives people the strong, sturdy lessons on what they need to learn, especially from the stories they've heard about. Joy is very cooperative. By the way, the child actress who played Maggie is Lisa Berry. So, is she and Joy related? It doesn't really say, to be honest. No matter which website I search on, it doesn't say anything at all. Sorry to say. The only thing is, when I'm talking about the Human Race Club, I'm only going to talk about the cartoon, not the book. Because I feel the need to talk about this cartoon because I saw this before, middle school, high school, somewhere around there. No, it was middle school. That's when it was. I saw this cartoon and I thought, that's unusual. A cartoon show that has limited animation, like the Filmation cartoons, the early days of Hanna-Barbera, or even Clutch Gargo. Now, this cartoon could be the inspiration for Hammerman, and they got limited animations too. The point is, I think this cartoon is a lost media, and I think it deserves to be talked about. Right? Now. So let's not hesitate. Let's talk about the Human Race Club from the late 1980s. That is a topic we are going to talk about. In other words, we're off to the races!
So these are the Human Race Kids, the main stars of the series. Maggie McGovern, Casey O'Reilly, Pamela Chin, AJ, also known as Andrew Jones, and Teddy. What is Teddy's last name anyway? I never seem to find out what his last name is. Is his last name Bear? Maybe Ruxpin? Maybe Roosevelt? And in case you were wondering, no. I searched and searched as much as I could. There's no trace on the animation studios, nor the actors behind the Human Race Club cartoon. Sorry, but I tried. No information is told. There are 6 cartoons that were made based on her books. 6 out of 9 books of the Human Race Club became cartoons. The Letter on Light Blue Stationery, The Unforgettable Pen Pal, The Fairweather Friend, let's see, what else was there? Casey's Revenge, The Lean Mean Machine, and A High Price to Pay. So let's begin the Human Race Club cartoon. The first one we're going to talk about is the first one I have seen. This one is The Letter on Light Blue Stationery. This story centers around Pamela Chin, the token Asian kid. Now, some people will say she's kind of stereotypical based on the looks of her face, but I'm going to ignore that conspiracy, and I'm going to talk about her as is. In this particular cartoon, Pamela Chin learns a harsh lesson on how special some people can be. And how is it so? She tragically lost a friend at a young age. Her friend's name was Audrey Steinhopper, killed in a car crash.
Killed? Audrey Steinhopper killed?
The more Pamela learns about her during the grieving process, she realizes that Audrey was not a particular special kid.
In addition to her lack of traditional beauty, Audrey was only an average student with no apparent musical, artistic, or athletic talent.
Until she went to the clubhouse. When she brought up what happened, her friends began to speak about Audrey and all the memories they had with her. How she can cheer everybody up, make people feel better, compliment on someone's speech no matter how hard they work, and, more importantly, help someone out when they're in a struggling situation. That's when Pamela decided to write the letter out. So yeah, she learned a lot from what happened. And, to be honest, I feel the same way. I too lost some friends along the road. Not in the same age as Pamela was, but as a teenager and in my 20s. I know this kid who just recently graduated from high school. I don't want to say his name or anyone else's name, just to, out of respect for their families. He actually died not too far down from my house, truth be told. He was in a farmer's silo on a farm right by the veterinarian center. And he was breathing some sort of toxic reaction that was inside there. At least that's what I've heard. And suffocated. And then there was this woman I know who died just before she turned 30. I still don't know what caused her sudden death so suddenly, and so young. But I did show up at her funeral, and I comforted her best friend by my side. Her best friend eventually became my girlfriend, years later. So yeah, I can relate to Pamela Chin on this situation very heavily. Losing someone at a young age is rough. Losing a family member, like a grandparent, is very tough. I still couldn't get over the loss of my grandpa. And trust me when I say, his death really hits me the hardest. I still cry whenever I think about him to this very day.
And, there's one more friend that I know. And I sadly lost her not long ago. And sad to say, she's connected with my girlfriend. Because they're both sisters. I'll probably feel pretty bad about talking about this. But I need to get it off my system. It happened on Wednesday, December 6, 2023. Location, Lowell, Michigan. Before she became my girlfriend, this woman, I'm still going to protect her name out of respect for her family. Although I will say her name in the credits, though. Anyway, she was coming home from a party, along with her two sisters, and one of her sister's two sons, a 4-year-old and an 11-year-old. On the way home from the celebration, there's been a car crash. One car just hit him head on. And this wreck pretty much says it. My girlfriend was hurt very badly, along with her two nephews. From what I heard, they were airlifted to the nearest hospital. The other woman, who was also a survivor, the one that hit the van head on, also survived. But my girlfriend's two sisters in the front seat, one that was driving and one in the passenger seat, were killed.
Oh no, that's terrible.
You see, the woman behind the wheel, her sons were in the back seat with my girlfriend then. The other girl who was in the passenger seat, who was killed, I know her. And it hurts me to say this, she was my first girlfriend I had. My first. The relationship we had didn't last long though, because I was starting to feel more showing interest to her sister. And I must say, her little sister was a lot more smarter and wiser than her. Despite them both being special needs, like me, it's tragic. Thankfully though, I found out about this, and I comforted her all the way through. She was slowly but steadily walking to survive because she had a scar on her leg. But thankfully she recovered. And although it still hurts her to think about what happened to her sisters, the loss really hurt. So naturally, what happened to Audrey Steinhopper in the book happened to one of my friends too, and almost took another one. Almost. But she's a sole survivor. She's brave, she's courageous. And I am so in love with her.
And so that was a letter on light blue stationery. Now we come to the second cartoon. This one is called A High Price to Pay. What's so funny? A High Price to Pay centers around Teddy, a a kid who looks like the class president. And he has a lot to learn about the values of a dollar. And when he saw one of the two rich kids in town, Jeffrey, he's been railing on telling Jeff about all the stuff that Jeff has and Teddy wish he does have. Like a race car or a bigger swimming pool, a tennis court in the backyard. Anything so huge and rich. A large screen TV. But then, Jeff invited Teddy over for the weekend. And from there, Teddy saw what it's like to live in a millionaire's mansion. But of course he would soon learn not everything was all easy living as he thought it would be. Because, after enjoying some of the stuff that he's seen around Jeff's house so far, Jeff has to get up, go to bed early, so he can wake up at 5 a.m. 5 o'clock a.m. in the morning, on a Saturday. And of course, this is Jeff's way of making more money for the family, by doing simple, easy chores, like cleaning a dog's kennel, delivering papers, and other small potential work here and there too. So Saturday and Sunday, Teddy worked out hard. Finally on Sunday night, he lost it, telling Jeff that he was crazy. It was at this moment where Jeff gave us a very important lesson. The true price to pay.
Nothing in life is free.
There is a price to be paid for everything.
And the sooner you learn that fact, the better off you'll be.
And to be fair, he was right. With so many stuff skyrocketing to huge prices these days, it'll be hard to afford stuff that we need. A new house, a new car, and groceries that we need to stock up. It'll be hard to put a race car in a countryside pole barn. And my backyard's not big enough for a tennis court, or even a giant pool. Because one thing, you have a burning brush pile here, a tree on this side, and let's not forget the sewage system underground. So that's out of the question. So the message was clear, and the lesson was learned. There was a high price to pay for everything.
Thank you, Jeff Cassidy, wherever you are, for teaching that lesson to Teddy so he could teach it to us.
And I learned that fact throughout my youth. Thank you, Teddy. Thank you, Jeff. And thank you, Joy. A lesson so rich. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to JoyBerryEnterprises.com. Here's where the author has some books, some tapes, and even audio series come along. Here they talk about the Human Race Club, and some information I never noticed before. Here's the cartoons and individual videos, and here they are in a complete set together. Listen to this. Because these fully cel animated cartoon videos feature the delightful original Human Race Club characters and won both the American Film Institute and International Film Institute awards for Best Juvenile Content. Wow, I didn't know that. And originally, the videos were produced as half-hour shows for PBS. Really? Again, I did not notice that. Eventually, they became best-selling videos throughout the world. For many years, the Human Race Club videos were the most watched videos in classrooms all across America. Today, the evergreen subject matter, along with the beloved vintage animation, make these videos a must-have for any kid's video library. Wow, so much of Joyberry I did not even know about. Okay, congratulations, JB. The third cartoon of the Human Race Club is probably the one that I hardly watched much because I pretty much knew the lesson. That one is the unforgettable pen pal. In this story, we see AJ, whose real name is Andrew Jones, writing a pen pal letter to someone he never heard of. The pen pal's name was Joey.
Joey Estrada.
At first, it was all fun and games for AJ. He was starting to get used to Joey, realizing they both love basketball, and they share so many different fine stuff together. Like Joey giving AJ some posters of basketball players he likes. But then came a topic. The topic was they were hoping to bring a friend over to watch the basketball game together. The only problem was this friend was in a wheelchair. And it was here that we realized that AJ was showing some signs of prejudice toward those who are handicapped or crippled, mostly those confined to a wheelchair.
But off the top of my head, I'd have to say that going to the playoffs with a handicapped person doesn't sound like very much fun.
Now, personally, I know some people in a wheelchair in my life. Am I prejudiced toward them? No. But I do know it's a hard life for them to live. Especially when you got some sort of disease that you can't... Especially when you got some sort of disease that make you unable to walk, or even stand, or even paralyzed from the waist down. So yes, I know some, and I'm friends with them too. And I tragically lost a friend in a wheelchair at a young age. 2024 to be exact.
It's not that I have anything against handicapped people. It's just that they make me feel uncomfortable. I never know how to act around them. They all seem a little strange to me.
But anyway, AJ was showing signs of prejudice toward that. And when he realized he hasn't called that Joey hasn't replied back in a while, AJ decided to write a letter to him. Joey replied back saying that he's not mad at him, but it's best to just go their separate ways. And then, enclosed with that letter was a picture. It was Joey, in a wheelchair. Oh, cruel irony.
AJ's prejudice led him to discriminate against disabled people, and it robbed him and Joey of a good friendship. Because prejudice can cause so much harm, you should try your best not to prejudge others. Evaluate people based on who they are, not what they are. That situations involving prejudice and discrimination seldom have a happy ending.
Now that brings an end to the unforgettable pen pal. Now we can talk about this one, the Fairweather Friend. This one features another rich kid, in this case, Todd. AJ becomes part of that particular crowd of rich kids hanging around with Todd and the others. And this story pretty much centers around all the kids of the Human Race Club, not just one individual one. And here's something you never thought you'd hear in a cartoon. They brought up Disneyland. Yeah, no joke. Disneyland was in there. Even if they didn't get copyright permission to use that name. I guess it's just a powerful force behind it. Without copyright permission. Go Joy. So it seems that the rich kid, Chris Todd, yes, he has a first name, Chris, just like my father. Anyhow, the gang realized that he does not have any real friends. He's pretty much a rich kid who is boss. Yep, he's like a control freak. He controls people he sees and chose the friends to be with. Oh boy. He's probably one of those spoiled rich kids for sure. But further along the way, Chris Todd will learn a very harsh lesson about reality, especially when it comes to owning money. During the next several weeks, after AJ was invited, the Human Race Club saw very little of him, because AJ's been hanging out with Chris Todd and his so-called friends. But then, something happened one day. Chris Todd was nowhere to be seen. No one saw Chris, or even heard from him. The days of departure was close, and he was nowhere near. And I better get me a bottle of Mountain Dew so I can get ready for it, and cool myself down later on. Not because it gets me heated up. I just get thirsty. Where was Chrissy? CT, where are you? Where are you, you little cherry head? But along the way, there's a bit of a situation going on here. Some point down the road, Todd haven't been seen for a while, because his family was absolutely broke. How did they get broke? Just listen to AJ.
The trip to Southern California has been canceled. Supposedly, Mr. Todd made one too many bad investments. The Todds are flat busted broke. They're having to sell almost everything they own, including the private plane.
After realizing how broke Chris Todd is, the gang felt sorry for him, and they decided to do what is best. Even though AJ's trip was canceled, he knew deep down he felt sorry for Chris Todd. So everybody in the Human Race Club compromised and turned the whole treehouse into a birthday celebration for Chris. And that is just what they did. They got decorations, they made some calls, and they even surprised Chris when he arrived. And even though Maggie was a little snarky and a bit of a drag throughout the whole cartoon, in the end, she learned this.
I never knew parties like this could be so much fun.
Even though girls were invited?
The girls were the best part.
You can bet Maggie was blushing big time because of that remark.
Co-era Snamu. Co-era Snamu.
What?
Co-era Snamu.
Code Era Snamu? Is that what they said? The clubhouse handshake, they call it. It almost sounded like they said Code Error Shamu. Almost like it's a SeaWorld thing to free Shamu and his fellow pods. But that's just me. And so, with that said, what's the lesson we have learned here today?
They all learn that if you choose friends for who they are and not for what they've got, then you're in for some of life's most rewarding surprises.
Boom, there it is. Whoop, whoop, there it is. Whoop, whoop, there it is, boy.
Ah, these two guys. These are the pets. The bird's name is Crackers, and the dog's name is Sheba. I assume Sheba is a beagle, since Joy herself had a dog like that, and possibly named Sheba too. But Crackers, that bird, he looks more like a green rooster than he is a parrot. For that matter, why is he wearing socks? Does he have sharp talons? Who knows?
These two pets are supposed to be the comic reliefs. But, to be honest, they didn't give me a laugh at all. Crackers was pretty much an unlikable parrot, kind of bland and forgetful. And Sheba, even though the dog is supposed to be like Snoopy, but, oh, she tried. Sheba's not that funny enough. Although I will admit, this did kind of made me chuckle a bit when I first saw it. Plus, this may be the only time I heard Crackers ever talk, since he is a parrot.
Be quiet! Be quiet!
Yeah, I like it better when he's not talking. Or when he's crowing like a rooster. So now that we talked about the Fairweather Friend, let us talk about the songs for these cartoons. Yeah, I thought I'd save them all until I talk about them all together. That's why I'm doing this now.
Now, there's some songs in the Human Race Club that you might know about.
What's that?
There are only 6 songs in the Human Race Club, and each one of them contains a very good lesson of the cartoon you just saw. Like one of them is about that you shouldn't fight with your brothers and sisters. The second one's about prejudice. And let me talk about that for a minute. Prejudice is actually not that bad of a song. It shows how different people are. And look at them, spray painting each other. Okay, they're cartoon guys, that's pretty much okay. If they're actual human beings, that is a whole nother ball game. And look at this restaurant. Open for business, but then no elephants, no kangaroos, or marsupials, the sign says, no reptiles or gators. I got a feeling Family Guy would get something from that. But then the other 4 songs contain the actual kids. The human race kids, that is. This song right here, You Are a Special Person, I gotta be honest, I love it. The music is so mysticifying. And the lyrics?
A person with your special face that looks the same as you. A person with your special traits that thinks the way you do.
Actually, I'm not gonna lie, the lyrics to this one is actually, it hits me. It really hits me.
You are very special and you are one of a kind.
I am a special person. You are a special person. We are all special persons in today's times.
There's even some songs for 5, 6, and 7-year-olds. These are the Help Me Be Good song albums. Only 4 were made, as you see. I had no idea Joy Berry can do these too. Well done, Joy.
Those were 3 songs I mentioned. But there's 3 more to add to it. The other song came from the episode The High Price to Pay. This one's called Money. I do love this opening gag here where the kids are just singing, and one by one, Casey, Maggie, Teddy, and AJ are losing their bags of money. All except for Pamela. She's spared. I know her secret. Although I do love the song Money a lot, I can think of a different kind of money song that can go with this.
Money, money, money makes you poor or makes you rich. Money, money, money isn't gold and silver is.
That's what I hear. The one song from the Lean Mean Machine is called Uncomfortable Feelings, where Maggie, AJ, and Casey explains that they're having sort of uncomfortable feelings. Like a bad day's rising when you wake up in the morning, or you're left home alone and you don't want to be alone, or you're so mad at your little sister you want to give her something so angry about. But they learn how to be calm and subdued about this. They thought it over and let the uncomfortable feelings go away. That's a good song too. I actually enjoyed it. And the last song is I Will Be Your Friend. That came from the Fairweather Friend. And for some strange reason, this takes place in the jungle. Maggie's escorted by a gorilla. AJ is relaxing on the back of a hippo, surrounded by crocodiles. Pamela is sinking in the quicksand, saved by butterflies, and Casey's hanging around with some monkeys. While Teddy decides to become the King Kong director. Yeah, that's pretty weird. But still, that song is also catchy. I enjoy that a lot. It really gets stuck in my head easily.
When you've been wrong, you're sorry, and you say so in the end. And through thick and thin, I will be your friend.
And there are so many different songwriters that wrote it too.
Now here's another songwriter that may or may not be related to Joy Berry. Marilyn Berry. She's the one that written, what did she wrote for the show? Oh yeah, You Are a Special Person. And, to my shocking surprise of them all, folks, she's also the author behind this, The Big Bad Wolf, a story about bullies. Yeah, there's that wolf right there. The one the parents couldn't even tame.
I think I need a break for a while. Give me a few seconds and I'll get back to you, okay? I'll talk more about the Human Race Club eventually. Oh, that wolf sure scared me. When did I have a hump on my back?
Alright, I'm back. And now we can continue. Number 5 is The Lean, Mean Machine.
It's all about Maggie and a mess she got herself into by not handling her uncomfortable feelings appropriately.
Now, technically this is the 6th and last one, but I'm saving the other one for last for a very good reason. A lot of good reasons. Anyway, The Lean Mean Machine. This story is centered around Maggie, the tomboy of the group. And she loves her softball so much. And I would know all about softball players because my sister happens to be one. However, I will address some things. Some things are different in this one. For one obvious difference, Teddy is changing. And you can easily tell his voice was starting to change up a bit.
I said, will the meeting please come to order?
He sounds more like a teenager now than he is a kid. Who'd have thought? Anyway, where was I? Oh yes. The kids decided to make a go-kart, which is the Lean Mean Machine, and they're all set and ready for preparations. Maggie was determined to be the driver, the head driver. But AJ wanted to drive, and Teddy wanted to drive. But eventually, everything's all calm and cool, and decided to wait overnight for the result. Well, actually, I take it back. They did not wait overnight, because Maggie had some sort of a...
Maggie's mother just phoned. She wants Maggie to come home for a piano lesson.
When the other kids were gone from the clubhouse, and she came back later on, she found a note on a table that says this.
In regard to the Derby, it was decided that Teddy would be the one.
Now to Maggie, she was really upset about it. Very angry, as you can tell. She's pacing back and forth. I honestly wish I could make a PMS joke out of it, but I'd rather not go that far. So because of what she read, she took the machine, the Lean Mean Machine, down the hill, and Sheba is her very first passenger. Which unfortunately for her, yep, she couldn't control it. She went Mario Kart on that thing, even if the game didn't even exist yet. Maggie McGovern, watch out for that tree!
You die!
No. She survived the crash. So did the machine. But one of the wheels was not so lucky. And because of that one dented wheel, they'll never make it inside the race for sure. Maggie decided to keep it all a complete secret until Pamela read the whole letter.
In regard to the Derby, it was decided that Teddy would be the one.
Pamela paused long enough to turn the page And then she continued.
To get the Lean Mean Machine to the race, and Maggie will be the one to drive it.
So because of that, Maggie confessed to everybody. She broke down in tears. And Casey gave us some advice that he got from Joy Berry.
Joy always says there is no such thing as a bad feeling. There are only bad ways to handle feelings.
She really does know how to handle children. I'm on to you, Joy. You're wise. And that was the Lean Mean Machine. Our last cartoon in the Human Race Club series. The last cartoon is Casey's Revenge. And oh boy, I'm so looking forward to this for a good long time. The centers around Casey, the token chubby kid. He has to put up with his older sister, Teresa. And boy, did he found the way to get back at her for sure. But before I can talk about that, let's go way back to the prologue. His sister stopped by at the treehouse to give Casey some cookies and ask if she'd like to see a movie with him later. Casey accepts. But when she left, Maggie and AJ were up in his face, saying that brothers and sisters should never be friends. They should never get along with them, they thought. And trust me, I know what Casey's going through. I too have a big sister myself. A mother of 4 kids. Well, 5 if you count the stepdaughter. But yes, this is going to be a cartoon after my own heart. In this story, Casey decided to get revenge on his older sister, Teresa. What's happening, you say? How does this came to be?
Teresa sure knows how to embarrass her little brother Casey. Especially in front of a girl that Casey liked. In front of a dear sweet old woman who's kind enough to give Casey cookies. She even embarrassed him in front of his friends. Oh yeah, I can relate with that on so many levels.
Just once I'd like to get back at her.
Casey found a little clip of the slideshow that was going to be used for Teresa's party. But then he remembered something that happened. In one of the slides that he was holding up, it gave him a flashback to the time he and his family went camping. And as you can immediately tell, Teresa was not enjoying it, making everybody's life an absolute hell than it is fun. If there's any good lesson so far, never bring a whiny complaining bitch to a campground, even if it is family fun time. And here's something in the cartoon you never thought you'd see. Somebody using a portable camping body. Which, is that really a thing? I know there's outhouses, but is that really a thing? I got nothing. I honestly got nothing. Anyway, Joy Berry pushed up the envelope just a little bit, just so she can tell the story. And it was this moment here that Casey took the picture of his sister while she was using it. And as you would imagine, she was going Donald Duck on him. But over time, though, the family forgot about it. Even Casey did. And Teresa. Casey thought if he used this particular clip, he would embarrass the hell out of his sister at the party. Right in front of her friends, and right in front of her boyfriend. So he asked his parents if he can run the slideshow, even though Teresa didn't even tell him about it. His parents said, "Yes, you may run the slideshow."
During the party, however, Casey was all set ready to go. But then his big sister suddenly stopped. A look of force swept across her face. She became white as a sheet. His sister had figured out what he was about to do. And as she was begging for mercy, Casey began to feel guilt in so many ways. No matter how hard he tries to ignore her, he just couldn't win. And what happened then? For the O'Reillys, they say, Casey's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. So Casey decided enough was enough, gave his sister the chip, and played the projector just as it is, without that additional scene. I must say personally that is probably my most favorite story out of all the Human Race Club stories. Because it's true that you should never get along with your brothers and sisters. But another thing you should also be aware about, while it is true that I never get along with my sister when I'm young, as I grew older, now that I'm in my 30s, I'm pretty much accepting. And my sister's 1 year away from becoming 40. I should probably accept the fact that she's my sister, I'm her brother. We have equal differences now. We're pretty much acceptance in a way. And there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one a whole lot. This one's gotta be my most favorite. As for the others, well, I'll get to them in a minute.
After I got myself a frozen treat to relax my voice, I discovered something else. Joy Berry herself has written 2 other additional books that explains the origins of the Human Race Club. Here's the first one, and here's the second one. I honestly had not heard about these books yet until I visited her website, which sure is surprising more than ever now that I realize it. Joy Berry, you are magnificent.
I actually enjoy these cartoons a lot. As I said before, they are so magnificent. The Fairweather Friend is such a heartbreaking story. A strong story of friendship, no doubt. It's about a group of kids who have another friend come together, realizing that he can't buy friends. He just has to make them by earning them. Earning their trust as well. High Price to Pay? Fantastic. I'm so happy I learned a lot about money from this experience. And with that much money I had to spend on eBay getting some of those tapes, oh man, does that say a lot. The Letter on Light Blue Stationery. Beautiful, heartwarming, and touching. Even though I'm still hurt from the loss of some friends I know along the way, I can still feel what Pamela was going through. In the end, you learn sometimes people who are special can still work out well in the end. And being special, with special talents, is what's important. The Unforgettable Pen Pal. Well, that story I must say, I am very surprised about. AJ should have learned his lesson the hard way and keep his mouth shut, not realizing, of course, the unfortunate circumstances he had. A lesson that we can all learn in today's times. It's a nice story that I enjoy watching. Is it one of those stories I'll never come back to anytime soon? Well, here and there. This is also the kind of theme of the story I actually enjoyed. Most stories about prejudice usually involves a black man or a white man, or even a white person, or even a male or a female, or even an Asian person against a regular white person, or even a Native American person for that matter. Joy picked the perfect topic that no one has ever talked about. A person in a wheelchair, and how a person with straight legs, AJ, can have strong prejudice against those who can't use their legs at all. That's actually a rare topic for Joy right there. I'm totally all for that. Good choice. Finally, there was a Lean Mean Machine. I can definitely understand Maggie. I've been going through a lot of emotional stress when I turned 21 back in 2011, and even more so in 2020. I eventually got my emotions under control over time. But let's just say my emotions almost cost me a lot of friends on Facebook. Almost. I lost 4. But yes, a lesson learned. I love the story a lot. Maggie sure learned a good lesson too. And I learned a good lesson from all these cartoons as much.
And that was the Human Race Club cartoon from 1986. Well, I never thought I would get through this. All 6 cartoons. Haven't seen them since I was in middle school. It sure is fun to experience the nostalgia feel, I'm trying to say. And Kids Media Group? Nope, no trace of their whereabouts either. Or information. So what's my final result for this cartoon? Well, I certainly had a blast going through it again. Not too impressed on the animation, but for what it's worth, it's still fun to watch.
Joy Berry is magnificent. She's a great storyteller throughout the whole show. And it's so wonderful to see how she knows how to handle children during the ways of growing up. With that said, what were your thoughts about this? Do you remember seeing these cartoons? Do you think it was almost considered lost media? Well, almost. Do you enjoy the characters? Do you enjoy the songs? Let me know in the comment below. If you want to find a way to have your kids self-help their way through life, Human Race Club is that kind of show. I'm Big Bad Ben. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And before I go, I want to give a huge special shout out to Rick Spears. Because if you remember my Mackey's World review, I spoke about him. He's the guy that made a giant Tyrannosaurus Rex statue inside Mackey's World, the first mall aimed for kids. He saw my review for that, and he commented about it. He even gave me some good information I did not even know about. Here's what he said. When a whole place closed down, the Tyrannosaurus Rex disassembled, taken apart, except for its massively large head. That head, as we speak, is inside the Georgia College's Natural History Museum in the state of Georgia. That is amazing to know. I am so pleased to get that kind of comment. It makes me feel happy from people like him. People who saw my review that I spoke about in that review. Oh, I'm so blessed.
Thank you so much, Rick. I appreciate that comment so very much. So yes, your comment really made my day. I'm so pleased to hear about what happened. And that will be all, my friends. I think I'm going to take another break from my reviews for a while, but otherwise though, I had a great time. Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Rick. And thank you everybody who worked behind the scenes of the Human Race Club cartoon. If you haven't found these cartoons yet, you can find them on YouTube. You can find them on eBay, depending which VHS is still there. But you can also find them at joyberryenterprises.com. Tell them I sent you.